It is April 2014, and we are sitting in Mike Rooney's Z28 Pro Touring Camaro, and we are going to give a tutorial of the electrical system operations of all the switches and circuits, so he has an understanding as to how to operate the car in case we're not around to assist him. Well, we're going to first start with explaining that this particular car has a complete fuse and wiring harness strictly designed for the everyday car driving. So under my left foot, as under a normal, if you can see my foot, under a normal situation, you would see a fuse box under there with all the necessary fuses for all the circuits in the car. In conjunction with that, we have a secondary race panel. This race panel is designed to override any particular circuit operation and individually, if he wanted to access to turn power on any one of those accessories listed there. But there is a process, and we will go through that shortly. So we're first going to start with attempting to what we need to do to start the car. So as like any other car, we need to turn the key on, and you can see the illumination of the tach showing that there is power. And then we would come up to the ignition panel. The red light means ignition is on. Now the next button would be your starter button. Now you can hear the starter activate. Now that's for conventional driving. If you, at this point, when you activate, let me shut this off. When you activate the key, normal operation is the computer will get its 12-volt source. The fuel pumps will get their 12-volt source. The fans, the water pumps, everything that is for normal driving will get its 12-volt source and function as a normal car. You can't be misguided by this panel. This panel I'll go over shortly, but the car will function without it. But the only way to start the car is with this ignition switch on and the starter button. Without these two, regardless, key on or not, it will not start the engine. So, that being said, let's continue. The function of the dash, turn the headlights on, all the illumination works. If you want to observe the turn signals, nice and bright. If you want a high beam activation, that works. You have a cigarette lighter, but it's not connected because Mike doesn't smoke. So at that point, we will come back up here. Now, this car has a line lock button on the shifter. This is used when you apply the foot pedal, hold the button, release the foot pedal, and this activates a solenoid that locks the front wheels. Now you have to apply a lot of hard brake pedal before you apply the button. Hold the brake very hard and then apply the button. Now when you don't want the brake to hold anymore, you just release the button and away you go. Now we have another button over here that is a trans brake button. Now this particular button, trans brake and line lock, do not function while in normal driving mode. You have to activate that circuit on the last switch, which is an accessory switch. But it won't turn on, obviously, until the car is actually turned on. So now you are in race mode when it comes to the trans brake and line lock. You hear them switching? Now, there are two other circuits that incorporate in that particular accessory switch. And these are called two-step modes. They are RPM controlled two-step modes where you can apply the front line lock, and once applied you can rev the engine to a particular RPM that's set on that particular module. These are little dials you set those to. Those are all preset now. You also have a secondary on the line lock. So these are not activated until this accessory light is on. So this button and this button are inactive until that light is on. Now, you have a series of buttons. You have an electric fan. If you're sitting in the pits, you want to cool the engine down without turning the ignition on. If you want to activate and prime the fuel pump, you just push it that direction. If you want to turn it on, you push it down. Now fuel pump 2 is not functioning because we don't have a secondary fuel pump. Now there's a water pump switch as well. Lights on, water pump is turning. So if you wanted to cool the engine and rotate the water through the engine while it's at the track, with the fans on, you would cool the engine down in between your passes. Now as far as accessory lights, there is no function of the accessory lights. Pretty much says it all. I'm sure there's going to be additional questions, but at this particular time, this covers everything. So when you want to shut the engine off, you would shut your ignition off, and you're ready to go. Okay, well, take care.